Lecture 38, The Nomads of Gor. The Wagon Peoples, the Plains of Turia, and the City of Turia. A lecture by Sarah Thorne. Part 1 Opening. Masters, mistresses, free men and free women, Kajare and Kajirii, I greet you. The circle is open. When most people think of Gor, they think of the city-states. Koroba, Port Kar, Tharna. The towers, the markets, the civilized laws, the high council, the caste system as it functions within stone walls. But there is another Gor, a Gor of endless grass, a Gor of thundering herds. A Gor where the sky is the only roof and the wagon is the only home. This is the world of the Wagon Peoples, the Nomads of Gor, the riders of the kaiila, the herders of the bosk, the Tuchuk, the Kataii, the Kassar, the Paravaci. This lecture will cover 3 subjects. First, the Wagon Peoples themselves, their culture, their clans, their customs, their warriors, their slaves, their strange and fierce way of life. Second, the Plains of Turia, the vast grasslands that are their home, the geography, the climate, the animals, the dangers. Third, the City of Turia, the walled oasis in the midst of the prairie, the wealthy trading hub that the Wagon Peoples both despise and depend upon. And throughout this lecture, we will apply the BTB Plus framework. The books are the foundation. The foundation is not a cage. We will respect what Norman wrote. We will fill the gaps he left, and we will correct logic problems where reality requires it. What most do not understand about BTB Plus is this. It adds logic to the books. It fills gaps. It enhances roleplay. It makes fun come back, but it does not destroy Norman's lore. The books remain the foundation. BTB Plus builds upon them. It does not tear them down. The circle is open. Part 2, The Wagon Peoples, Who They Are. The Wagon Peoples are the nomadic herders of the southern plains of Gor. They are not a single tribe. They are 4 distinct peoples united by a common way of life but separated by rivalry, suspicion, and frequent warfare. The 4 tribes are as follows. The Tuchuk. They call themselves the people. Outsiders call them the Tuchuk. They are the fiercest of the Wagon Peoples. The most feared, the most proud. They paint their wagons in bright patterns and decorate themselves with scars cut into their faces, ritual scars that proclaim their courage and their warrior status. The Tuchuk are the tribe of Kamchak, one of the most memorable characters in the Gorian saga. They are the focus of the book Nomads of Gor. The Kataii, they are called the Black People. Their wagons are painted black. They are known for their stealth and their skill in night raids. They are the second most powerful of the Wagon Peoples, the Kassar. They are called the Blood People. Their wagons are painted red. They are known for their ferocity in open battle and their elaborate blood rituals. The Paravaci, they are called the Rich People. Their wagons are painted yellow. They are known for their wealth accumulated through trade and plunder, and for their more elaborate dress and ornamentation. Each tribe is led by a Ubar, a war chief who rules until death, or until he is overthrown by a stronger warrior. The Ubar's wagon is the center of the camp. It is placed on the highest ground, and the entire camp is arranged around it. The Ubar sits outside his wagon on a simple pile of furs, covered with an old gray bosk hide. The Tuchuk are fond of show, but the Ubar's power is displayed not through luxury but through the prosperity of his people. The 4 tribes do not always get along. They raid each other's herds. They steal each other's women. They fight over grazing grounds. But when an external enemy threatens, such as the City of Turia, they can unite. This unity, however, is fragile. As Kamchak says in Nomads of Gor, without an enemy, they will never stand together, and if they fail to stand together, someday they will fall. Part 3. The Plains of Turia, Geography and Environment. The Plains of Turia are the vast grasslands of the southern hemisphere of Gor. They stretch from the Cardius River in the north to the borders of the Tahari Desert in the south and east. The climate is windier and cooler than Earth, but not extreme. The grass grows tall enough to hide a kaiila and its rider. There are few trees and no natural stone. The sky is enormous. The horizon is unbroken. This is why the Wagon Peoples call themselves children of the endless sky. There are no permanent rivers on the plains. The Wagon Peoples rely on seasonal streams, underground water sources, and the occasional oasis. This is one of the reasons they are nomadic. They must follow the water and the grazing grounds for their bosk herds. The plains are home to several dangerous animals. The bosk itself is dangerous, a huge, slow-moving mammal with murderous horns. It wears a nose ring like a slave, but it is not tame. It can kill a man with a single thrust. The kaiila is the mount of the Wagon Peoples. It stands 20 to 22 hands high at the shoulder, much larger than an earth horse. It is both swift and graceful, but also vicious and beautiful. It does not suckle its young. Newborn kaiila must hunt and kill the moment they are born. For this reason, when a kaiila is born in the camp, a bound bear or even a slave is left nearby as its first kill. The prairie sleen is the nocturnal guardian of the camp. It is a vicious carnivore, caged during the day and set free at night to roam the peripheries of the bosk herd. A sleen cannot be approached by anyone but its master. Anyone else it will kill. Each night, it is imperative that everyone be safe in the camp before the sleen are released. The bear is a Gorian goat. It is used for meat, milk, and its hide, though the hide is much lighter than bosk hide. The kaiila is a lumbering, short-tempered, trident-horned animal found on the plains and in the barrens. It is hunted by the Wagon Peoples and the Red Savages alike. Part 4. The Wagon Peoples' Daily Life and Customs. The Wagon Peoples live in wagons. These are not simple carts. They are domed, covered with bosk hides and painted in bright patterns, each tribe with its own colors. The wagons are large enough to house a family, and they are drawn by bosk. When the camp moves, it moves in a long column that can stretch for miles. Most domestic tasks are handled out in the open air. Cooking fires dot the camp. Free women in long leather dresses and braided hair tend the pots. Children play and laugh. Warriors tend to their weapons or practice with them. The air smells of roasting bosk meat, the ring of metal tools, and the guttural singing of war songs. Haruspices, holy men, wail tunefully, foretelling the future. Slave girls in brief leather chatkas, the Wagon People slave garment, dash about their tasks. Their bells on collars and ankles make a pleasing music that contrasts with the crying of the bosk. The bosk is the center of Wagon People life. It provides everything: flesh for food, milk for drink, hides for the wagons, for clothing, for shields, sinews for thread, bones and horns for tools, awls, punches, spoons, drinking flagons, weapon tips, hoofs for glue, oils for greasing the body against the cold, dung for fuel on the treeless prairie. Nothing is wasted. The Wagon Peoples are not primitive, they are specialized. Every free man is a warrior, a hunter, and a herder. But in addition, they belong to clans, groups of men who share a specialized duty. The known clans of the Wagon Peoples include the Salt Hunters, responsible for locating salt essential for preserving meat and for human health. The Scarers, responsible for creating the ritual scars that mark the men of the Wagon Peoples. These scars are cut into the face and body in patterns that tell the story of a warrior's life. The Scarers are skilled in both the art and the medicine of scarification. The torturers are highly trained in the arts of detainment and interrogation. They wear hoods when engaged in their work, unless the victim has been sentenced to death. The torturers are not assassins. They only perform their work on prisoners and captives. They sometimes hire themselves out to U-bars and initiates outside the Wagon Peoples. The year keepers are responsible for memorizing the names of the years. The Wagon Peoples name each year, and the year keepers can recite several thousand consecutive years from memory. Some are so skilled that they have memorized the names of every year going back to the founding of the tribes. The singers are not a clan but a role. The singers of the Wagon Peoples memorize and recite the histories, the war songs, the hero tales. They are the living archives of the people. A BTB plus note. This clan structure is a gap that BTB plus can fill. The books mention some of these clans but do not list them all. A role player who wishes to create a character from a specific clan is not violating canon. They are expanding logically. The only rule is that the clan must feel Gorian. It must fit the harsh, practical, warrior-focused culture of the Wagon Peoples. Part 5. Warriors and their Code. The warriors of the Wagon Peoples are among the most feared fighters on Gor. They ride the kaiila. They carry the Tuchuk bow, a short, powerful bow made of bosk horn and sinew. They wear leather armor, often decorated with the scars of their kills. A warrior's wealth is displayed openly. The piles of riches outside his wagon speak of his courage and his martial skill. Among the Tuchuk, wealth is not hoarded. It is shown. It proves that the warrior has taken more from his enemies than they have taken from him. The scars on a Tuchuk's face are ritual. Each scar marks an act of courage. A Tuchuk without scars is a Tuchuk who has not yet proven himself. A Tuchuk with many scars is a Tuchuk to be feared. A BTB plus logic correction. Scarification, especially on the face, carries a high risk of infection. On the plains, with limited medical supplies, infected scars could kill a warrior. The books do not mention how the Wagon Peoples prevent this. BTB plus fills the gap. The scarers know how to clean and seal wounds. They use a paste made from crushed herbs and bosk fat. It is not magic. It is practical knowledge passed down through generations. This does not contradict the books. It simply makes the world workable. Part 6. The Women of the Wagon Peoples, Free and Slave. The free women of the Wagon Peoples wear long leather dresses and braid their hair. They are fierce, proud, and protective of their households. They tend the cooking fires, raise the children, and manage the domestic tasks. They are not weak. A Tuchuk free woman can gut a bosk, skin a kaiila, and fight off a raider if necessary. The slave women of the Wagon Peoples are something else entirely. Among the Wagon Peoples, a female slave wears 4 articles, 2 red, 2 black. A red cord called the kaiila is tied about her waist. A long, narrow strip of black leather called the chatka fits over this cord in the front, passes under, and then again, from the inside, passes over the cord in the back. The chatka is drawn tight. A short, open, sleeveless vest of black leather called the kalmek is then donned. Lastly, a strip of red cloth called the kora is wound about the head to hold the hair back. Slave women among the Wagon Peoples are not permitted to braid or otherwise dress their hair. It must, save for the kora, be worn loose. This is the full description from Nomads of Gor, a BTB plus observation. The chatka is described as a narrow strip of leather. It is not a skirt. It covers the front and passes under and over the cord in the back. The books do not specify how much it covers. Some role players interpret the chatka as minimal, covering only what is necessary. Others interpret it as more modest. Both interpretations can be valid as long as they respect the book's description. The foundation is that the chatka exists and has the described shape. The plus allows for variation within that foundation. The slave women of the Wagon Peoples are known for their insolence. They are much prized as slaves because of their fierce spirit. They are not meek. They will steal meat from the cooking pots and run away laughing. They torment the stolid free women with their proud beauty. They are almost as fierce as the bosk they tend. This is not a contradiction. A slave can be fierce and still be a slave. The Wagon Peoples value spirit. A broken slave is less valuable than a slave who still has fight in her. Part 7, The Bosk, Center of Life. The bosk is not just an animal. It is the foundation of Wagon People existence. The Wagon Peoples are herders, not farmers. They follow the bosk herds across the plains. The bosk provides everything they need. This is not primitive. It is a highly efficient survival strategy for a nomadic people on a treeless prairie. The bosk is huge. It is dangerous. Its horns can kill a man with a single thrust. It wears a nose ring like a slave, marking it as chattel. But the bosk is not tame. It is merely herded. The Wagon Peoples know every bosk in their herd. To outsiders, the herds seem innumerable as the stars. But to the people, each bosk is unique and their numbers are perfectly tallied. The herds are tended by slave girls who make countless trips to the nearest river for water. These girls gather bosk dung for the fires. They clean the wagons. They care for the bosk. They are fierce, proud, and insolent and much prized as slaves. A BTB plus note. The logistics of herding hundreds of thousands of bosk across the plains are not described in the books. How do the Wagon Peoples prevent the herds from stampeding? How do they keep the tribes from mixing their herds? How do they water millions of animals on a prairie with few permanent water sources? These are gaps. A BTB plus role player can fill them logically. Perhaps the Wagon Peoples use trained kaiila to control the herds, much like Earth cowboys use horses. Perhaps they use smoke signals, horn blasts, and drum beats to communicate across the herds. Perhaps they have developed specialized techniques for locating underground water, techniques that the scribes of the cities would find primitive but that actually work. The foundation is that the Wagon Peoples are master herders. The plus is how they achieve it. Part 8, The City of Turia, the Walled Oasis. In the midst of the Plains of Turia stands the city of Turia itself. Turia is not like Ar. It is not ancient beyond memory. It is not a city of white marble and electric lights. Turia is a walled trading city, surrounded by high walls with 9 gates. Until the great battle of the Wagon Peoples described in Nomads of Gor, Turia had never been conquered. Turia is wealthy. Its shops are filled with rare and interesting goods. It trades with all the other cities of Gor, and with the Wagon Peoples themselves. Turia sells iron to the Wagon Peoples, and in return buys leather and horns of the bosk. However, the Wagon Peoples will never sell Turian slaves or living bosk to Turia. Turia is the main avenue of contact between the Wagon Peoples and the rest of Gor. Without Turia, the Wagon Peoples would be much poorer. Without the Wagon Peoples, Turia would lose its primary source of leather, horns, and other prairie goods. The people of Turia are city dwellers. They are not nomads. They live in stone houses, wear woven fabrics, and follow the customs of the high castes. To the Wagon Peoples, the Turians are soft. To the Turians, the Wagon Peoples are barbarians, but they need each other. This tension is the heart of the story in Nomads of Gor. Part 9, The Fall of Turia and Why It Was Not Destroyed. In Nomads of Gor, the Wagon Peoples unite under Kamchak of the Tuchuk and sack Turia. The city falls. The walls are breached. The streets run with blood, but Kamchak does not destroy the city. He could have. He could have burned it to the ground. He could have killed every inhabitant. He did not. Why? Kamchak gives several reasons. First, the Wagon Peoples need Turia. Without the city, they lose their main trading partner. They would be poorer. Their access to iron, cloth, and other goods would be cut off. Second, the Wagon Peoples need an enemy. As Kamchak says, without an enemy, the tribes will never stand together. If they fail to stand together, someday they will fall. Turia serves as that enemy, a permanent, visible threat that reminds the tribes why they must unite. Third, Kamchak made a wager with himself. He bet that the Kataii and the Kassar would come to the aid of the Tuchuk. He bet that they would unite. He won that wager. And in winning, he proved that the Wagon Peoples could act as one. A BTB plus insight. There is a deeper reason that Kamchak does not speak aloud. The books imply it. BTB plus makes it explicit. A conquered city is a dead city. A dead city produces nothing. A dead city cannot be traded with. A dead city cannot be raided again. By leaving Turia standing, by permitting thousands of its citizens to escape, by allowing the city to survive, Kamchak ensures that the Wagon Peoples will have an enemy to fear and a trading partner to use for generations to come. This is not mercy. This is strategy. Part 10. Notable Figures of Turia and the Wagon Peoples. From the books, several notable figures are associated with Turia and the Wagon Peoples. Fannius Termus is the administrator of Turia at the time of the sack. He is a typical city administrator, more concerned with trade and politics than with war. He underestimates the Wagon Peoples, and he pays for it. Camras is a warrior, the right hand of the administrator. He is a skilled fighter but cannot match the ferocity of the Tuchuk. Safrar is the richest merchant in Turia. He owns a massive compound within the city, fortified like a fortress. He is greedy, clever, and ruthless. He survives the sack by hiding behind his walls. Lady Afris is the richest woman in Turia. She is proud, haughty, and cruel. After the sack, she is enslaved by Kamchak. Her fall from wealth to slavery is one of the most memorable sequences in Nomads of Gor. Kamchak is the Ubar of the Tuchuk. He is not handsome. He is not elegant. He is practical, ruthless, and surprisingly wise. He is the one who unites the Wagon Peoples and leads them to victory. Harold is a Tarnsman from the north who joins the Tuchuk. He becomes one of Kamchak's most trusted lieutenants. He is brave, loyal, and a skilled warrior. Dina is a former slave of the Wagon Peoples who is freed by Tarl Cabot. Tuka is a slave girl of the Wagon Peoples who teaches Elizabeth Cardwell the Gorian language. Part 11. BTB plus corrections and expansions. As with R, the world of the Wagon Peoples contains gaps and logic problems that BTB plus can address. First, the question of water. The plains of Turia have no permanent rivers, yet the Wagon Peoples water millions of bosk, thousands of kaiila, and tens of thousands of people. The books do not explain how. A BTB plus solution is that the Wagon Peoples have developed sophisticated techniques for finding underground water, perhaps dowsing, perhaps observation of animal behavior, perhaps inherited knowledge of seasonal water sources. This does not contradict the books. It fills a gap. Second, the question of fuel. The plains have no trees, yet the Wagon Peoples need fuel for cooking, heating, and metalworking. The books state that they use dried bosk dung for fuel. That is a real-world solution. It is used by nomadic herders on Earth. The gap is filled by the books themselves. Third, the question of disease. A nomadic population living in close quarters with animals is at high risk for zoonotic diseases. Yet the Wagon Peoples seem healthy. A BTB plus explanation is that they have developed immunities over generations, and that their practice of burning bosk dung, which has antiseptic properties, helps keep their camps clean. Fourth, the question of metal. The Wagon Peoples have metal weapons and tools, but there are no mines on the plains. They get metal from trade with Turia. This is stated in the books. Turia sells iron to the Wagon Peoples. The gap is filled. Fifth, the question of the Red Savages. The Red Savages of the Barrens are culturally distinct from the Wagon Peoples, and they share some similar nomadic lifestyles. Both ride the kaiila. Both hunt the kaiila. However, they are separated by the Voltai Mountains, a massive mountain range that runs north to south, dividing the continent. The Wagon Peoples live on the western side of the Voltai, on the plains of Turia. The Red Savages live on the eastern side of the Voltai, in the Barrens. The distance is hundreds if not thousands of passings. There is no contact between them. The books do not describe any interaction, and the geography makes interaction impossible. A BTB plus roleplayer must respect this separation. The two peoples are not neighbors, they are not trading partners, they are not enemies, they simply do not meet. The Voltai Mountains are a barrier, not a bridge. Part 12. What destroys the feeling? Do not do these things, treating the Wagon Peoples as primitive savages with no culture. They have a rich, complex culture. They are not stupid. They are not chaotic. They have laws, customs, clans, and traditions. Forgetting that the bosk is the center of their existence. Everything comes from the bosk. If you roleplay a wagon person who does not understand the bosk, you are roleplaying badly, ignoring the role of the kaiila. The kaiila is not a horse. It is a predator. It does not suckle its young. It must kill its first meal. It is vicious. Roleplay it as vicious, making slave girls meek. Wagon people slave girls are known for their insolence. They steal meat, they laugh at free women, they are fierce. Do not make them into weeping, cowering stereotypes. Assuming that all four tribes are the same, they are not. The Tuchuk are fierce. The Kataii are stealthy. The Kassar are bloodthirsty. The Paravaci are wealthy. Play the differences, forgetting that the Wagon Peoples need Turia. They despise the city, but they depend on it. A role player who has a wagon person declare that they could destroy Turia tomorrow and be fine is missing the point. Kamchak himself admits that the Wagon Peoples would be poorer without Turia, ignoring the role of the Haruspeks. The holy men of the Wagon Peoples are important. They foretell the future. They interpret omens. They have political power. Do not reduce them to background noise. Claiming that the Wagon Peoples have no laws. They have laws. They are not written, but they exist. Custom is law. Tradition is law. The word of the Ubar is law. Claiming that the Wagon Peoples have contact with the Red Savages. They do not. The Voltai Mountains separate them by thousands of passings. Anyone who suggests otherwise has not read the geography correctly. Part 13. Closing the Circle. I have spoken. Now I ask you to consider. Do you understand the Wagon Peoples now? Not the barbarian caricature, the real Wagon Peoples of the books. They are nomads. They are fierce. They are proud. They are children of the endless sky. They live on the plains of Turia, endless grass, enormous sky, no horizon. They herd the bosk, ride the kaiila, fear the sleen. They live in wagons painted in bright colors. They cut scars into their faces to prove their courage. They have clans for salt hunting, scar-making, torture, and year-keeping. They are not primitive. They are specialized. They survive in an environment that would kill a city dweller within weeks. They have a complex relationship with Turia, the walled city they despise and depend upon, the enemy they need to keep them united, the trading partner they cannot live without. Apply BTB Plus to the Wagon Peoples. Respect the foundation. Read Nomads of Gor. Know what is in the books. Then fill the gaps. How do they find water? How do they control the herds? How do they treat wounds? How do they train their kaiila? The answers are not in the books, but they can be built in a way that feels Gorian. What most do not understand about BTB Plus is this. It adds logic to the books. It fills gaps. It enhances roleplay. It makes fun come back. But it does not destroy Norman's lore. The foundation is not a cage. The plains of Turia are vast. The Wagon Peoples are complex. Play them that way. The circle is yours.